I'd like you to turn to the person to your right and just look at what they're wearing. Don't be shy, just look at it. Cool. Now ask them if you can see the label inside their clothes. If they say no, that's okay. You can look at your own label as well. Okay. You've all either seen a label or thought of a label that you know you're wearing. Great. Now just concentrate on that. Think about it for a second. And now think about the brand that you saw on the label or imagined. Okay. Does everyone have it in their head? Nod, yeah? Cool. Good. Now, for the next part, let's try and think about how this brand makes us feel. Is it a brand that we know very well? Is it something that we like? Good. Now let's think about how much it costs to buy. Does everyone have a number in their head? If it's your own outfit, you're ahead of everyone. It's cool. Great. Now let's try and figure out, silently, how much it costs to make, including materials and cost of labor. Think about where it was made. Think about what circumstances it was made under. Good. So, you might have heard about what happened in Bangladesh. A factory collapsed, killing over 1,200 people. A lot of the brands that we just looked at or imagined might have sourced from that very factory. So you might be thinking, if your brand was made in Britain, that's okay. Everyone in Britain must have been paid a living wage, right? What if I told you that most textile workers in Britain are paid £3 an hour or less? You probably know these factories as sweatshops, and yes, they exist everywhere, even in 21st century Britain. Now, what if I told you that 90% of sweatshop workers are women? People around the world rely on jobs in these factories, women especially. And women and fashion have an ambivalent relationship. On the one hand, fashion employs women, but employment conditions are unacceptable. Fashion inspires creativity and self-expression, but we're bombarded with messages about what we should wear and what our bodies should look like. Who here has tried something on, looked at their own body, and just felt like they're not beautiful enough? The way things are now, our markets are flooded with mass-produced fast fashion. And in fashion trends, there are gender differences. So generally speaking, men's clothes are about what's comfortable and what's wearable, and women's clothes are about what's on trend. So why is this? Is it about our personal style? Is it about what we would like? Is it about making us feel good? Is it about how much we can afford to pay? Or is it actually about making a profit? So these are the questions that inspired myself, Sophie Slater, and Sarah Beckett to start Birdsong. With Birdsong, we're trying to effect change as a fashion brand, which, as you can imagine, isn't easy at all. How do we do this without falling into the same patterns? We refuse to, for the first part, alter the appearance of models, because people make clothes look good, not the other way around. We work with our suppliers, and we offer them tailored support. Our suppliers are elderly knitters in Kingston who make jumpers and scarves. women in Malawi who are paid a fair living wage and are taking ownership of their business and their economic fates. They make they make bombers. So one of our suppliers in particular is very important to me as a Palestinian woman. It's called Two Neighbors, and they're an organization that bring together a group of Palestinian women who live in the South Hebron Hills, and they make traditional embroidery. It's called tatriz in Arabic. This is becoming a rare art, and these women are some of the few that are still teaching it to their daughters and passing it on to the next generation. The pieces they make are so intricate that they can take more than a week to finish. These pieces are then taken over to Tel Aviv, where a group of Israeli women who learned to sew in their early teens, because most of them are from the ex-Soviet Union, connect them to modern dresses. This is the dress that I'm wearing. Two Neighbors made it. Without this dress, these two groups of women might not even know of each other's existence because they're separated by checkpoints, an imbalance of power, oppression, and hatred. But they come together in their own words to bring beauty to the world and sustenance to their families. So now let's go back to what the person to your right is wearing, or what you're wearing. And let's try and answer some of the questions we thought about earlier. So let's imagine they're wearing a t-shirt and it costs 10 pounds, just to make it easier. So the materials will cover about £2.60 of this t-shirt. Other costs like manufacturing, insurance, and taxes come to £1.30. The markup for the retailer, for the brand, is about £6. So how much was the person who actually made this t-shirt paid? Less than 1 penny. That's that tiny line that you might not have noticed. So as you can see, the way things are now are not about what we want to wear. They're not about workers' aspirations. They're about making a profit. The way things are now, it might feel like it's impossible to change. But that's simply not true. As people, we have the power to question, and we have the power to choose. As consumers, we have the responsibility to question brands, even Birdsong, and hold them accountable. So don't settle for less than you deserve, and choose style that empowers people. Thank you.